should get this done before it gets too hot.
Agreed, the sun is already quite strong.
This one seems to be thriving. Oh man.
Yes, the soil here is surprisingly good.
Yeah. These should grow nicely here.
Yes, the soil looks perfect for them.
It's so peaceful out here, isn't it?
Yes, a perfect day to just relax.
So I've been reviewing the quarterly reports and there are a few key areas I'd like to discuss.
Absolutely, I've had a look as well. What are your initial thoughts?
What do you think about the food?
Yeah, it's delicious.
So I'm just gonna rinse these berries off really quick.
I think that's a really important distinction for people to understand. You are our first and only distributor.
Yes, that is correct. I've been reviewing the quarterly reports and the numbers are looking very promising.
Yeah, that's wonderful to hear. What are the key highlights?
The morning began with a fragile stillness, the kind that made every breath feel borrowed. He stood by the window, sunlight spilling across his neatly pressed shirt, the faint smell of detergent still clinging to the fabric. His mother's voice carried through the small room, warm yet lined with worry. "My son looks so handsome today," she said, her eyes glimmering with pride and weariness. He smiled softly, but the smile carried weight. It was the smile of a man hiding storms beneath his chest. He leaned closer, brushing the blanket over her frail shoulders, whispering that her health would grow stronger if she kept resting. But beneath his gentle tone, his heart raced with something far heavier than concern for her comfort. When the silence stretched, he broke it with a trembling confession. "Mom, I want to talk to you about something important." His voice cracked on the word important, and her sharp eyes immediately pierced into his. He spoke her name softly, Tu Tien, and suddenly the air thickened. He described her honesty, her kindness, the way her spirit seemed to rise from hardship like a flame refusing to be smothered. His mother listened, every word layering against her heart until her lips parted with a smile. "I love her as if she were my own daughter," she said. "She is quick, caring, and strong. If she becomes family, I will be grateful." The son's eyes watered with relief, but the storm inside him only roared louder. His voice hardened with resolve. "I want to give her a title. I want to propose." The words fell like stones into the room, their echoes vibrating against the walls. His mother froze, then softened, her smile deepening. "Your happiness is yours to decide. If you have chosen, then I bless you." Yet even in blessing, she offered warning. "But wait until next year to marry. This year is not kind to your ages. We will welcome her during Tet, make the house full with laughter. Then you can move forward." Her words carried the weight of tradition, but also the tenderness of a mother who feared the world's cruelties. He nodded, but deep inside, he already knew his heart could not wait. He confessed he had already prepared, the ring hidden like a secret flame, his plan to visit Tu Tien's farm that very day. His mother reached for his hand, her frail fingers trembling but firm. "You are grown now. Decide for yourself. Just know, my happiness is yours, and yours is mine." He wanted to speak of fears, of money, of judgment from her family, of the ghosts of hardship that haunted their lives. But she silenced him with a truth sharper than any blade. Family is not wealth. Family is love. Tu Tien is a good woman. If she loves you and cares for you, that is all that matters. Tears blurred his vision, but he nodded, his heart surging with gratitude. Before leaving, he promised to thank those who had stood beside them in darker days. Luan, the friend who had lent him money when the walls closed in. Tuan, the man who had carried Tu Tien safely through danger when shadows threatened her. His mother's voice was soft but commanding. Yes, thank them. True friends reveal themselves in hardship. He carried her words like armor, pulling his jacket tight before stepping into the day. The ring pressed against his chest from the pocket inside, its weight a constant reminder of the storm he was about to unleash. The cafe was alive with the low hum of voices, the clink of cups, the scent of roasted coffee curling like smoke into the air. Luan waited at a corner table, his eyes bright with recognition. They spoke of recent troubles, financial wounds and workplace battles that had nearly consumed him. But now, he said, they were resolved. He admitted he would take a short break, spend time with his mother and Tu Tien before diving back into the grind. Luan's smile faltered when Jack pulled the small velvet box from his pocket. Today, he whispered, I will propose. The box opened, revealing a ring that caught the dim cafe light and fractured it into shards of fire. Luan's eyes widened, his voice low. Be careful. Love is the greatest risk of all. The moment broke when his younger sister arrived, her laughter sharp, teasing. She saw the ring and gasped dramatically. For me, she joked, sliding the band toward her own finger. He pulled it back quickly, his voice steady but edged with urgency. Not for you, for my future wife. The words were deliberate, heavy, as if speaking them aloud made the dream more real. His sister's smirk faded into something gentler, but her eyes still glittered with mischief. The cafe grew heavier, the air thickening with secrets half revealed. Soon after, Tuan arrived. Jack rose immediately, his gratitude spilling from him like water breaking a dam. Thank you, he said, for bringing her home that night. Without you, I don't know what might have happened. Tuan waved it off, his face calm but unreadable. It was the right thing to do. Anyone would have done the same. Yet his tone suggested otherwise, as if he knew the darkness that had nearly swallowed Tu Tien and chose to shield it from the boy's heart. The handshake lingered longer than necessary, and Jack felt the ring in his pocket burn hotter against his chest. When Tuan left, Jack turned back to Luan. His voice was low, his conviction sharper now. I will give Tu Tien a life worth everything. She changed me. She made me see family again. Luan's eyes searched his, as though weighing his soul. Finally, he nodded. Then go, but do not falter. Proposals are not just promises. They are wars you must be willing to fight every day. The warning lodged deep in his chest, but Jack only tightened his grip on the box. He was ready, or at least he believed he was. The road to Tu Tien's farm stretched long and lonely, dust curling under his shoes, the sun bearing down like an unblinking eye. He rehearsed the words in his head, each syllable heavy with fear and hope. But when he arrived, the world shifted. Her mother stood at the gate, baskets of vegetables at her feet, the green and red of produce glowing against her tired hands. He greeted her, buying what he could, his voice polite but trembling. She smiled, weary but kind, telling him Tu Tien was away at the market. He waited, shifting from foot to foot, the box burning in his pocket, the minutes stretching like knives. He searched the house, called her name, even reached for his phone. But her device lay abandoned on the table, silent, lifeless. Panic slithered through his chest. Where had she gone? Why had she left without her phone? The shadows of the farm seemed to lean closer, whispering doubts. He told himself she was at the market, that she would return soon. Yet each passing second felt like quicksand pulling him deeper. His mind rehearsed the proposal again and again, but the words twisted, became desperate pleas instead of promises. Standing before the house, he pulled the ring box free. The air thickened, the farm itself holding its breath. He whispered the words, at first as practice, then louder, his voice cracking. "Please be my wife. Tu Tien, will you be my wife?" His heart thundered, his throat dry, the ring glinting in the fading light. But the silence answered him, vast and merciless. She was not there. His proposal fell into emptiness, swallowed by the dusk. And yet, as the shadows deepened, his resolve only hardened. Whether in a restaurant, on the farm, or in the silence of an empty house, he would propose. He would not leave without her answer. The night was coming, and with it, the unknown. The ring burned in his palm, and he whispered again to the darkness itself, "Tu Tien, you will be my wife." The night pressed down on the farm like a heavy cloak, thick with shadows and unanswered questions. He sat on the wooden steps, the ring box clenched in his hand so tightly that his knuckles turned white. The silence around him was not peace, it was suffocation. Every rustle of leaves, every creak of wood felt like a whisper of warning. Where was Tu Tien? Why had she left her phone behind? His mind clawed at answers, each darker than the last, until fear became a second heartbeat inside his chest. Her mother moved quietly through the house, her footsteps soft, her face unreadable. She urged him to eat, to wait calmly, but her own eyes betrayed worry. He saw it in the way her hands trembled as she set down bowls, in the way her gaze kept flicking toward the road. "She will return," she said, her voice thin, almost pleading. But the words rang hollow, as if spoken more to herself than to him. He nodded, though the knot in his stomach only grew tighter. Minutes bled into hours. He tried calling again, though he knew the phone lay abandoned inside. The hollow ring of the unanswered call seemed to mock him, each tone a reminder of absence. He paced the yard, the gravel crunching beneath his restless steps, his mind rehearsing every possible explanation. Had she been delayed at the market? Had someone stopped her along the way? Or had something far worse stolen her from the safety of the day? The questions gnawed at him until the night itself felt like a predator circling closer. At last, he could bear it no longer. He left the farm, his feet carrying him down the dirt road toward the market, though the stalls were long closed and darkness had claimed the village. The empty streets glared back at him, each shadow a threat, each silence an accusation. He imagined her walking alone, vulnerable, and his chest tightened until he could hardly breathe. The ring in his pocket no longer felt like a promise. It felt like a curse, a weight dragging him into despair. When he returned to the cafe, hoping to find Luan still there, the chairs were stacked, the lights dimmed. Only the lingering smell of coffee remained, mocking him with its warmth. He sat outside, head in hands, the cool night air pressing against his skin, his thoughts fractured, replaying her laughter, her smile, the way her hand fit into his. Each memory cut deeper, each one a blade reminding him what he stood to lose. The world felt suddenly fragile, as though a single wrong step could shatter everything. His phone buzzed, jolting him like a lightning strike. For an instant, his heart soared. Was it Tu Tien? But the name was Luan. He answered with trembling hands. His friend's voice was steady but urgent. "Calm yourself. She will return. Do not let fear devour you before you know the truth." Jack closed his eyes, pressing the phone tight against his ear. But she left her phone. She never does that. Something is wrong. Luan paused, then said quietly, "Then wait at her home. If she loves you as much as you believe, she will come back there first." The words steadied him, if only barely. He returned to the farm, every step heavy, every shadow threatening. Tu Tien's mother waited at the gate, lantern in hand, her face pale against the flickering light. She searched his eyes, and in her silence he saw her own fear reflected. Yet she forced a smile, whispered again, "She will return." He nodded, though neither of them believed it fully. He sat once more at the steps, the night stretching endlessly before him, the ring box a silent sentinel in his pocket. As the hours dragged, exhaustion pulled at his body, but his mind refused to rest. He whispered his proposal into the night, repeating the words like a prayer, as if speaking them enough times could summon her back. Tu Tien, be my wife. Please, be my wife. The wind answered, carrying the distant sound of dogs barking, the echo of footsteps that never arrived. His chest ached, his throat raw, but he did not stop. His words were all he had left, fragile shields against the storm of uncertainty. Near midnight, he rose again, unable to remain still. He wandered the fields, the lantern casting long, twisted shadows across the rows of crops. The silence was absolute, broken only by his ragged breaths. Every rustle of leaves became her voice, every shift of wind her footsteps, yet each time it was nothing. He cursed his helplessness, cursed the waiting, cursed himself for choosing this night of all nights to bare his soul. When he returned, Tu Tien's mother had dozed off in a chair, her head bowed, her hand clutching rosary beads. He watched her for a long moment, guilt cutting through his chest. She deserved peace, yet here she was, dragged into his storm. He whispered a silent promise to her, though she could not hear. I will protect her. I will bring her back, no matter what it costs. The words tasted like blood, bitter but binding. As the first pale light of dawn crept over the horizon, he rose again, his body trembling with exhaustion. Still no sign of her. His heart cracked under the weight of silence, yet a fire remained, small but unyielding. Today, he vowed, he would find her. He would not sit idle while the world threatened to steal her away. The proposal would not be abandoned. If he had to search every road, every market, every shadow, he would. The ring would find her finger, even if the world itself tried to stop him. But as the morning bloomed, the questions only grew sharper. Why had she vanished? Who had crossed her path? And why did the silence of the night feel less like chance and more like design? He could not shake the sense that something darker moved beneath the surface, that her absence was not simple delay, but something deliberate, something dangerous. He closed his eyes, clutching the ring box one final time before slipping it back into his pocket. The farm, the market, the cafe, they had all failed to bring him answers. Now he would go further. He would follow every whisper, every shadow until he found her. The storm was only beginning, and he was already drowning. And somewhere in the distance, unseen, the world was preparing a truth he was not ready to face. The morning light was sharp, cruel in its clarity. He left the farm with his chest burning, his footsteps pounding against the dirt road like war drums. The ring box weighed on him like iron, every step a reminder that his love had become a hunt. The village stirred awake around him, vendors lifting shutters, children chasing each other barefoot, the smell of broth rising from kitchens. But none of it touched him. All he saw was absence. All he heard was silence where her voice should have been. Tu Tien was gone, and the world mocked him with its ordinary rhythm. He searched the market first, pushing through stalls where voices clashed, where bargaining turned into battle cries. "Did you see her?" he asked, his voice fraying. Faces turned blank, heads shook. A few thought they remembered her, carrying a basket, smiling politely, then vanishing into the tide of people. That was hours ago. No one had seen her since. Each word cut him deeper, until his heart felt hollowed out, his breaths shallow, desperate. By noon, the sun scorched the village, yet he felt only cold. He found Luan again, gripping his friend's shoulder so hard it hurt. "She is gone," he said, the words trembling, almost breaking. Luan steadied him, his voice low, controlled, calm. Fear clouds the eyes. Think, where would she go? Who would want to stop her from returning? The questions sliced through his frenzy, but no answers came. Only shadows, only silence. He thought of Tawan, of the night he had saved her, of the danger that had crept close before. His chest tightened. Was it possible that danger had returned? When he reached Tawan, the man stood calmly, his hands busy stacking crates of vegetables. His face betrayed nothing, but Jack's voice was already sharp with suspicion. Where is she? You helped her once. Did you see her again? Tawan's brow furrowed, his eyes narrowing. I haven't seen her today. Why would you accuse me? But beneath his words, something flickered, a hesitation, a guardedness that Jack's fear seized upon. He turned away, fists trembling, his trust unraveling. He was surrounded by friends, yet felt more alone than ever. Night came again. At the farm, Tu Tien's mother sat on the porch, a candle trembling in the wind. She prayed softly, the beads sliding between her fingers, her voice breaking. He sat beside her, unable to speak, his chest weighed down by guilt. She is strong, the mother whispered. She will come back. But the words felt brittle, fragile lies meant to keep them breathing. He held his head in his hands, whispering the proposal again, not for practice, not for hope, but for survival. Tu Tien, please be my wife. Come back to me. The candle flickered, and he felt the night closing in tighter. On the third day, exhaustion gnawed at him, but resolve burned brighter. He would not sit and wait. He would act. He returned to the market, to the roads, to the riverside where boats moored. He searched faces, called her name until his voice cracked raw. Still nothing. And then at last, a whisper. A vendor remembered seeing her near the old bridge at dusk, walking with her basket, a shadow following too close. His blood ran cold. The orchard of fear inside him bloomed again, every branch heavy with dread. He ran to the bridge. The air there felt wrong, thick, humming with memories not his own. The boards creaked under his weight, the river below black and endless. He saw no trace of her, only the echo of steps that had long vanished. But in the dirt near the posts, he found it. A scarf, frayed at the edges, familiar, hers. His chest collapsed, the ring box slipping from his hand, falling into the dirt beside the fabric. He sank to his knees, clutching both, his body shaking as the world tilted. This was proof she had been here. Proof she had vanished into the unknown. Luan found him there, broken, clutching the scarf like a lifeline. His friend knelt beside him, gripping his shoulders. Listen to me. Do not drown in this. If you love her, fight for her. Find her. The ring is not the end. It is the beginning. You must be willing to burn the world to bring her back. Jack's tears blurred his vision, but his grip on the ring hardened again. Yes, he would fight. He would not let the world steal her. Days blurred. He moved like a man possessed, chasing whispers, following trails of rumor, questioning anyone who might have seen her. The village began to murmur about him, the desperate man with the ring, searching for a woman who had vanished like smoke. Some pitied him, some mocked him, some feared him. But he did not stop. His love had become obsession, his proposal a vow carved into his bones. He would not rest until he placed that ring on her finger, no matter what truth he uncovered. And then, when hope had thinned to threads, she returned. Tu Tien walked into the farm at dusk, her clothes dust-streaked, her face pale, her eyes wide with exhaustion. She carried no basket, no phone, only silence. Her mother screamed her name, rushing to hold her. Jack froze, the ring trembling in his hand. Relief surged through him, but suspicion cut through it like a blade. Where had she been? Why had she vanished? Why did her eyes look haunted, as if carrying shadows that would never lift? He stepped forward, voice breaking. Tu Tien. Where were you? She looked at him, her lips parting, but no words came. Instead, she collapsed into his arms, her body trembling. He held her, heart hammering, torn between joy and terror. This was the moment. Despite the fear, despite the mystery, despite the storm still circling them, this was the moment. He opened the box, the ring catching the fading light. His voice cracked, raw, desperate. Please, be my wife. The world held its breath. Her mother wept softly behind them. The fields whispered in the wind. Tu Tien's eyes filled with tears, her lips trembling as she finally whispered, yes. The word was fragile, uncertain, heavy with secrets, but it was yes. Relief crashed through him, his body shaking as he slid the ring onto her finger. The promise was made, the vow spoken, the storm embraced. Yet as he held her, he felt it. The tension in her body, the shadows in her gaze, the unspoken story in her silence. She had said yes, but the truth of where she had been, of what had stolen her from him, still loomed like a ghost between them. The proposal was victory, but not peace. It was the beginning of a new war. And as the night fell once more, Jack knew. Love was not just joy. Love was danger. Love was mystery. Love was a vow to stand against storms he had yet to see. He had his answer. He had his bride-to-be. But he also had a shadow clinging to her, one that would haunt them both. The ring gleamed on her hand, beautiful and terrifying, a circle of love and chains.